Deus Vault, my fellow gamers. Here, I just wanted to go over, well, a little reason why you prime, and to show you, hey, he's not purple anymore. This gigantic Goliath model. But as I said earlier in the last video I just posted yesterday, that this guy had a lot of mold lines, and when you prime, you're able to pick up on all your mistakes. First mistake is that I did not clean this injection pin I made such a fuss about. So what I'll do is I'll put some putty or something over that, smooth that out right nice, and it'll be pretty. Now, to show you, how it looks with my method of cleaning these nasty plastic models, up here was a mold line, and it ran up over each of those spines and went up beyond that. And you see that is pretty smooth. Each of those spines is really smooth too. So here, when you prime, you're able to see all the problems with the model before you paint, which is excellent because it gives you time to go back and fix, like this injection pin mark. And actually, one of the big things, because what I did with this model is I cleaned all the fleshy bits of the tentacles, and then I went back and carved on these scale bits, because what I'm trying to do when I clean a model is to reinforce the crispness of detail, which this model really needed. And you still look at the tentacles, it's still it's like a blob, like all the detail has been smoothed out or something. It's terrible. And my primer coat is actually a nice thin primer coat. It's not terrible, not a terrible huge one. So the little sculpting job right there did pretty good. I kept that muscle liner in the green stuff. Let me see. There you go. Okay, so like I said, I cleaned the tentacle parts, and actually that has a real big nasty injection pin there that had to be carved out. This model, most of his injection pin markers are by the base on his bottom or whatnot, but that one, that was carved out from the factory. I didn't have anything to do with that. I carved the mold line off from around it, but they carved it deep in. Like, I can't. It flattened the surface. It didn't go and curve. Like, there should be a curve there, but you could see it actually dug in. So this is something I'm going to need to fix, and it was something I didn't do, so I just glazed over because I was just after the mold lines. I was actually very focused. But here you can see this terrible line running through all those scale pieces, these armor plate pieces. So I'm gonna have to go and get that line out of there. You see how jagged it is? I mean, these molds must look crazy because they didn't cut them straight at all. Of course, this is a tentacle. There's no real way to do that, but I mean, the guy that cut this line must have been drinking heavily before he did it. I mean, he's carving all over the damn place. So, and he goes, son of a gun, make a clean cut. But yeah, it's very hard to see these last scales, but there you go. So you can see how it runs. See that last one? So, but you can tell mold lines are all gone from everything else. And up front, I guess you can still kind of see a little bit of a line there. I smoothed it out pretty good, but yeah, he had a deep weird V pattern mold line right there. But And right there, if you remember, I had a nice chunky piece, or no, I didn't. It was around the back of the tail for the green stuff. You guys really can't see where the seam line is right there, where I stuffed the green stuff in, but she's there. And right here, I had a whole mess of green stuff right in there, and you can't really tell where that seam is anymore. That means that it's done its job. Up into here, of course the mouth, that looks okay. It's not the best. It's not completely finished very good, but yeah. And you see the primer coming off here. I got a weird can of primer, and so it's very strange. It's like it doesn't want to cure. So what I'm having to do with this primer is I'll prime coat something, fix the mistakes. Might prime coat the mistakes later on, because this is purple plastic, kind of hard to paint on. So once that's done, then I'll dull coat everything, and that dull coat seals it all in and makes it to where it's touchable and whatnot. But yeah, it just rubs right off, which is kind of a pain. And that's not primer indicative. That is just this specific can of primer. It's just a terrible thing. So when you prime your models, don't think it's over. Check the mold lines. Check to make sure that you've done everything that you wanted to do to make your model look seamless and nice. Nothing ruins a model more than seeing those mold lines and knowing that, that kind of ruins it. It suspends disbelief is what it does. You're like, oh, okay, this is a Tinker toy. It's not really a big giant Goliath on this base. It's not really eating people. It is a Tinker toy. It shouldn't be taken seriously. You want this thing to be taken seriously. Its rules dictate that, big gnarly gaster that it is, it needs some respect. So don't let it suffer with mold lines. Anyway, that's all that I've got for you guys. Y'all take it easy. Carry your laser.